Hello, my friends. Another fearless conversation coming at you. This one from Rhonda Farah, owner of Me Rhonda Now, as her main course and website and focus of her business, where she empowers people to really face their life, face who they are, express their love for themselves, and step forward with grace, courage, and absolute success. Let's take a listen. All right, Rhonda Farah, welcome to Fearless Changemakers. You have this amazing perspective as a life coach, as an empowerment coach, and just helping people get out of, the unpleasant and back into the possible. So let's dive in and tell us little bit about yourself. Give us like a little understanding of your upbringing, your background, and what led you to where you are now.
Okay, I would love to. Thank you for inviting me to do that. I was born on the East Coast, Connecticut. Okay. I am the oldest of three brothers and one sister, and I grew up largely in a traditional household, traditional family. I had a stay-at-home mom and a dad who preferred mom stay at home. Mm-hmm. And through third grade, we lived in what's called an extended family, which most people know what that is. And so at one time, there was 13 people under one roof, myself, my parents, my siblings, uncles, a grandfather, a grandmother. And so there was a lot of love and there was a lot of discipline as well. So it was a household of primarily females. And that's where I believe my sense of nurturance arrived, let's say, also being the oldest. I was meant to be, whether I wanted to or not at points, the role model for my siblings. So again, traditional family, traditional household. Way back when I started out as a agricultural major at the University of Connecticut, and I switched. I love plants, and I still love plants. I switched to psychology and sociology and have a Master of Arts in counseling, educational counseling psychology, psychotherapy. So there I was, the nurturer. And, it was great. I loved having my own practice. I loved the situations I worked in. I worked in the business arena and employee assistance programs through grad school. And in 2005, I made the switch to lifestyle empowerment alchemist, coach, author, and speaker from psychotherapist. So today I carry two toolboxes, psychotherapist as well as lifestyle empowerment alchemist, coach.
Yeah, amazing. Let's dive into the alchemist. You have a line on your website that says thoughts become things, and how true. This is so true. So let's dive into that. Talk about being an alchemist.
Well, okay, being an alchemist. Alchemy is the precursor, as most know, to chemistry. I am not a left brain person at all. As a matter of fact, in graduate school, I opted for something called environmental science versus chemistry or anything more. And through events in my life, I have plenty of credentials and certifications. However, my real credentials are my adventures in life. And alchemy, I learned probably on a subconscious level first, and whether I liked it or not, that it's very necessary to take our joys, our successes, as well as our sorrows and all that not so good stuff. I don't really say negative or ugly. It's all not so good stuff. The crap in our lives is essential to come together with those successes and make us who we are, or allow us to be who we are, allow us to be supporting and nurturing of ourselves as well as others. So I love being of service to others. And that's how I decided. I said, I can help people help themselves, because I've been through several adventures of that not so good stuff. And not only have I come out on the best side of it, but I have some tips and some tools for those who want to come out on the great side of what they're doing, who want to understand that even though they're traveling down this tunnel, we all are, on this journey, we are so graciously placed, and there's a light coming at us. And I'm here to say it's not a train. That light is the blueprint, it's the guidance, it's the truth, it's the way to be the best version of ourselves, to fix our reflection first and live our best life ever. Yeah, rather than anything less.
And so how do you start with that with your people? How do you start getting them to be able to look inwards first and start realizing that they have the power within to start making those changes and remolding, reshaping their thoughts?
Well, we talk about it, and it's not easy at times. I do a lot of mirror work. As a matter of fact, I was rebranded with Fix Your Reflection First and Live Your Best Life Ever nearly 4 years ago now. And I teach people how to look in the mirror and understand who they are seeing. They're seeing the me of them, whatever version they happen to be in at that point in time. And I ask a lot of open-ended questions to begin with. And I ask them, what brought you here? Not just a free complimentary session, but what is it that brings you to want to speak to me today? And most of them say, I'm not really sure. And that's where we begin. Yeah. That is exactly where we begin.
Amazing.
So go ahead.
No, you go.
Most come with a challenge or a struggle. I deal primarily with women, 40 and over, 45, sometimes 50 and over, because that's my realm, that's my tribe. And it's having them understand, appreciate, and accept that I'm here to help them help themselves if they choose to, and to find the gift and to find the blessing in that struggle or challenge, the adversity, whatever they are facing, that not so good stuff, because it is there.
Do you find that, I mean, from your sociology understanding, do you find that that age group is also where we're either finally ready to look at ourselves, or we've had enough of those life shifts to then kind of jolt us awake and make us realize we need to start seeking help or guidance in other formats?
Most definitely. When one says, this is enough, I've had enough, then you're ready, whether you realize it or not. And then we'll start getting into things. And it's not for the faint of heart to start exploring, to looking in that mirror and saying, hey, some people cannot say, I like you when they look in the mirror. I love you. Mm-hmm. I respect you. I appreciate you. I esteem you. Well, if you can't do that, actually, you must do that. It's essential to live the life you desire and to attract not just people who love you, esteem you, like you, but the situations, circumstances, and events in your life, your career, your job, your spouse, your children, and relationships with them. It's essential to begin on the inside. You see, being the best version of yourself is an inside job. Yes. And it begins right here in the heart. Mm-hmm. The heart, the feeling. What are you feeling, I said? Well, what are you feeling? Because what you're feeling will create a thought, which will create your external world. Research bears it. Okay, so fear. I believe there are only two emotions, love and fear. If you're acting from love, you feel love, you think loving thoughts, and your external world may not be perfect, but it reflects that positiveness, that empoweredness, that I'm in control of me for now, in this moment. And that's all we have, one moment at a time. This moment that we're talking now will create the next moment, will create the rest of the day, will create the week, and here we are Monday. So make this moment count. Sounds very cliche-ish, but you know what? It's true. Make the most of every moment and take one moment at a time. So I also believe that we either operate in faith or we operate in fear. I'm a faith-based person, not just religiously, but spiritually, really. And faith says, even if everything goes kerflooey, even if the shit hits the fan and, oh my God, even if I'm in faith, okay, I'm in faith, I'm finding the gift and the blessing, and I'm moving forward because all this is for me. Life is not against me. Life is for me. And everything sometimes must fall apart to fall together. Now, fear, on the other hand, says, oh no, what if? And you stop yourself right there. What if? Oh, what if this were to happen? If I became bold, courageous, fearless, what if? No, operate in faith, because even if you have that authentic power from within, we all do. We are all our own guru. We have that authentic power from within to overcome whatever it is we are challenged or struggled with. And I've had those challenges and struggles. So I know. I'm speaking again from life experience, not from just the textbook and the toolbox.
Are you open to expressing some of the life experiences that have brought you to where you are?
Absolutely. I wasn't, let's say 4 years ago, maybe even less than that. I was very timid about those things that brought me to become more empowered. And I was timid because I was fearful with respect to what others would think of me. Now I have a new perspective on that. I care, but I don't care. I care what others think, but I really don't care. What I really care about is what I think of me, especially when I look in the mirror. What does Rhonda think of Rhonda? So in 1998, I was indicted by the federal government.
Okay. What did you
And
do?
very daunting.
Sorry.
It's non-drug related and non-violent crime. And a piece of paper flew by me that said, United States of America versus Rhonda Farah. You'd think I was public enemy number one. Now, that was very daunting to me. Now, that was in 1998. Believe me, I've done a lot of growing and a lot of change in fearless directions since that day. So I was incarcerated for 7 years in a women's federal prison camp. There were no bars, but I lost 7 birthdays with my family, 7 of their birthdays, holidays, everything in between. And I knew I was there for a reason, subconsciously, but I didn't like it. Okay. Because my whole life just changed before my eyes. I've never had a speeding ticket. And here I am, like being labeled as public enemy number one. So I know those days I wasn't that keen on, oh, this is no accidents, happenstance, or coincidence. And now I believe that it happens for a reason. And that mess happened so that I could help those not only imprisoned physically like I was, but imprisoned in other areas of their life, whatever it is that they're stuck.
Yeah.
They're stuck in not just mud, they're stuck in cement. And we need to break that away, peel away the onion skin, find the gift, find the blessing, and move forward, not backward. And so that's operating in faith. It took about a year until I stopped hitting the phone against the wall in prison camp saying, get me out of here. I don't belong here. Just one day, and there it is, that's my breath. That was the day of surrender, whether I knew it or not, subconsciously. And so when I get that aha breath, it's a confirming breath to me. And here we go. So it confirmed to me that, okay, again, subconsciously, I'm here for a reason. I'm here. I still don't like it, but I just said, oh, well. I stopped hitting the phone against the wall, and there began my real journey of not only self-discovery, but self-empowerment, using that authentic power within me to continue to peel away the onion skin. You know, when you cut an onion, you have tears. I had plenty of tears.
Oh, yeah.
Plenty of tears. But I also had plenty of laughs, regardless of where I was. I had plenty of laughs. I had plenty of smiles. And laughter and tears are a sign of growth. So I did a lot of growing. I did a lot of writing. I was teaching wellness classes to my peers, my comrades, my female inmates who I was incarcerated with. And through that, helping them heal, I was healing. Because I believe firmly that we are all here to be in service to others, be in service to others. And someone says, what is your purpose? So my purpose is to be the very best I can be, wherever it is I happen to be at whatever time it happens to be. Breath. So I get a lot of those when I talk about this, because it's, again, that's me, even more of my onion skin being peeled away, even more of my healing process, to be able to take my messes and turn them into messages so that others can help themselves.
What a beautiful display of liberation, right? Like in a sense, we're liberating. That breath is another moment of like, yes, you have liberated from something. You are coming out of it and
Yes.
expanding into the next chapter, the next phase that you're designed and destined to be in. Do you work with incarcerated individuals now?
No, I do not.
Oh,
I haven't reached out in that direction or dimension. It's very difficult
I can imagine.
to work in that system. I will say two things. You use the word liberation. I needed to be incarcerated in order to be liberated. And I firmly believe that. I say that. I know that. And there are people, when I say that, my family especially, if you could have changed anything, Rhonda, would you? Nope. I wouldn't have changed the thing because I came out empowered and a better version of myself
Yeah.
that gave me the impetus to roll along. And I don't believe that incarceration has anything to do with rehabilitation. I don't. It's what we make it. It's an inside job. When I was teaching wellness classes, and women would say to me, well, when I get home, I'm going to eat properly. When I get home, I'm going to start a spiritual practice. When I get home, I am going to shed these 15 or 20 pounds. And I would say, well, you know what? When you get home, you're going to have to pay your rent, watch your kids, be out in the uninstitutionalized world. Mm-hmm. This is our time, girls. Come on. We're doing time, so let's make the most of it. Let's make it count. I forgot what your original question was, but I went there because I do believe I had to be incarcerated to be liberated. And it is very liberating to be able to say, oh, well, I'm here.
Yeah.
So what do I want to do about it?
Absolutely.
And I began to say, well, I can do this. I can do that. I did a lot. Perfect. And I became the best version of myself there.
Good.
And it set me up for whatever else was to come. Yeah.
Absolutely. And you were literally forced to look inwards because it's when the world forces us to stop. That's when we start facing ourselves the most. Look at most retirees. If they are no longer of a purpose in one capacity or another in their lives, that's when they start facing the history of their life and facing themselves. And some struggle with it, some elevate from it. And it's a very unique process as someone who watches retirees and is at the stage of wanting to plan for retirement, but it's, right. I don't know. You gotta face yourself before you hit that stage and take advantage of the time that you have. Yeah.
I definitely get that. And excuse me.
It's okay.
It's retirees. I will never retire. I turned 67 a couple weeks ago, and I feel better. I think I look better than I ever have. And I've got this perspective on life that, I mean, what is retirement? Why would you retire? You're retiring from life? No. Exactly. I like what I live and breathe. Yeah. And it will get better and better and better. And financially is the least of it. It really is.
Yeah, 100%. I live where it's primarily ranching farming community, and most of the should be retired farmers and ranchers say, well, when you quit, you die. So I'm never quitting. And you just start taking a different pace instead, right? But yeah, it comes down to purpose. Let's talk about purpose because all of this transformation stuff also is directly tied to that sense of purpose.
Yes. My purpose is to be of service to others who wish to help themselves and notice that it is an inside job and agree with that. My purpose is not to drag somebody to where I think they should be. Okay. It's not my right nor my obligation to do that. So the people that hang with me, let's say, are people they're not timid. No, I do want to make a difference in my life. I do want to live the life I desire rather than settling for less. Every damn year after another, living life in default mode. So you make a great point. It's, okay, who's ready to really fulfill their purpose? And you may not know what it is. And my purpose is much different now than it was in 1998. And it continues to evolve. And never in my life did I think that the messes in my life not only that I would go public with them, but that I would speak about them with the passion and the fervor that I speak about them. And I will not, I've been through the mire, through disease, through divorces, through financial ruin. The prison was nothing compared to how this progression went. But it set me up to discover what my authentic power from within is, that it does exist, because I'm dedicated to helping others identify and nourish and nurture and utilize their authentic power from within, in body and mind, and most especially spirit, so they can be the best version of themselves. Mm-hmm. And the best version is different for everyone, and it's different at different stages in our lives.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, for me, my purpose has always quite clearly been to motivate and inspire through my own actions. So what I do, but it's that outside ripple effect of other people seeing and watching and realizing like there's this necessity to operate with integrity, not for others, but with integrity for myself, and necessity that if there's a curiosity or a desire, I go after it. And then others watch and see, oh, it's safe to do this. There's actually not a big risk. So maybe I'll try something too. And it's been pretty empowering to be able to know and witness that happening and be the encourager for other people to be able to move forward in that method. Do I know what I'm doing tomorrow? 90% of the time, maybe a little bit, but in terms of what my next step's going to be, no. But that's the joy in it too, is being able to just be open to what's possible, what is next, what's going to spark that curiosity, what am I going to learn tomorrow? And I think when we start understanding that we have this like vitality that we are gifted and should be living with, then we can start operating with that curiosity a little bit more and being that little, that one step fearless, that one little bit with less fear to move forward and make a change. It might be just in our own lives, but it could be also that you're inadvertently changing the lives of the people around you at the same time.
Yes, because you never know who's watching. Exactly. You don't. I hear from people today that I was in prison camp with. You may not remember me, but you going around that track every morning at 5:30 in the morning. That inspired me. I'll always remember you for that, Rhonda. Thank you. You imagine Facebook is an outlet. Right. I want to get into moving forward. The prison, that's sensationalism. Okay, as I write my memoirs now with my writing coach, that's got the sizzle. Okay. Yeah. But upon release, I realized 11 months before I had a lump on my breast, and I wasn't going to do anything about it while I was in the Bureau of Prison system, for reasons I won't get into right now. That's a different story. That's politically based, and I'm not going there right now.
That's fair.
So I did nothing but pray and but affirm, and knew everything was going to work out in my favor. So I got released. I went for a checkup. And yep, you do have a lump on your breast. Here, we need a mammogram. And next, we need a biopsy. And in none other than Breast Cancer Awareness Month, of course, October of 2005, everyone was saying, well, how's the biopsy? And I would say, well, not the best news, but not the worst news. Mm-hmm. So I had held at bay through that authentic power from within. I credit that. I say God. I was raised Judeo-Christian. Spirit, divine source, universe. It's all the same. Yeah. It's all the same. Kept name. Everything. Yeah, different name. For IT, capital IT. And I was at a nearly stage 3 breast cancer. And I'm real squeamish about doctors. I've never taken any street drugs in my life. You need to start chemotherapy immediately. I said, oh, let's hang on here. Let's wait. And a friend of mine came home. She worked at Trader Joe's, and she gave me a card with a medical Qigong practitioner's name on it. I called him. I had several sessions. I did not start chemo for a month. And he said to me, Rhonda, I want you to go back to your oncologist, and Western medicine has the best diagnostic tools. I went back. My daughter was with me. And my oncologist, she said to me, I don't know what you're doing, Rhonda, but you're shrinking your tumor.
Yep.
So I was going through the prayer, through the chanting, through meditation. I always ate well, so slight changes in my diet. And I was shrinking my tumor.
Bravo.
My daughter looked at my oncologist and said, you're buying this shit too? Because my daughter was saying, when are we going to get a break?
Yeah.
You just got home. When are we going to get a break? I said, dear, I will be dancing at your wedding and I will see my grandchildren, which both have happened. So, but I was that squeamish person. But I knew there's this fear. What am I afraid of? I can do this. So I said, no, I'm going to start the chemo, which I did. Then I had margins cleaned out. But I was always checking in with God, with Source. Is everything going to be all right? Could you just give me a sign? I need those shots in the arm, breath. Okay. I need those shots in the arm. So I'm laying on a gurney in beautiful Monterey, California on a sunny day, looking out the window and having a talk with God. And a person who would be my OR nurse came over to me. She said, can I help you? Can I get you something? I go, no, I was just having a little talk with God that everything's going to be all right. And she looked at me, she smiled, and she said, look, your hair's coming back. It's like peach fuzz from disappearing from the chemo. Of course, I had my head shaved because I couldn't take hair on my pillowcase, every morning. All right. So she says, yeah, your hair's coming back. I go, oh, yeah. And she pulled back her skull cap and she said, maybe it'll come back like mine, curly. There's my sign.
There you go.
Here's a person that had been through what I went through and now is telling me that you're going to be fine. That's God. That was a God thing. I asked, I received. I knocked, the door was open. So I knew then everything's going to be fine. I proceeded to clean out some margins, didn't have to stay overnight in the hospital because I thought, geez, nearly stage 3. And then had about 37 blasts of radiation, a suntan on the breast. And while I have a scar on my right breast. It's a battle wound. Yeah. But I'm not ashamed of it. I'm proud. That it reminds me of certain things. And I like that breast just as much as the other one. So again, I took my sign. I went through the radiation. And the interesting part about chemo and radiation, I've always been an avid runner. I've been a runner for 50 years. I jog now and fast walk. After 50 years, the body just takes so much.
Yeah.
And the interesting part was I had a window. I went to chemo on Thursday mornings at 11 o'clock. I had until early Friday afternoon if I wanted to run, which I was, not as quickly, but I was running and I could vacuum and do other things. But I knew what my window of time was. And then I slept, I rested. And then I went back the next week. So it became that was my new routine. And that was being the best I could be. That was my purpose, the best I could be at that point in time. So a couple things happened. I was still strength training. I was running, as I said, not as fervently and not as robustly, but I was. And I became in service to others again. Yeah. I went back to that hospital and supported others with respect to a support group for breast cancer.
Amazing.
And so there I was again. I was pivoted back into being of service to others wherever I was. In these unlikely places that I thought, no, this will never happen. This is never say never. Yeah. So I began to trust more, to be in faith more.
Yeah.
And I began to really know that power within me, that soul, what was attending to the agenda of my soul. That soulfulness, especially I believe for a woman, is the least selfish thing you can do. Soulfulness.
Yeah.
So when I have a decision to make or a thought crosses my mind, I usually follow that thought and I understand quite clearly, how is this attending to the agenda of my soul? Because if it's not, I pass it by. That was scarier than being indicted, incarcerated, and going through this process of like not knowing, what is this? The C word, cancer. That's when I made the switch in 2005 from psychotherapist to alchemist coach. And this is why I've always dealt with the emotions and the thoughts. I began to look and see, well, what is it emotionally, cognitively that causes, that is a precursor to breast cancer? Well, in women, the emotions and thoughts are that we do not nourish or nurture ourselves. Self with a capital S. Mm-hmm. That was me. I raised my hand. Okay. I was busy nourishing and nurturing others, but was I really being in service to others? No, because I wasn't nourishing and nurturing myself to be the best version of myself. Mm-hmm. I made that switch. I said, no, I'm dealing with the emotions and cognitive ailments that people have that keep them stuck, whether it's the mud or the cement, from being the best version of themselves, from being able to look in the mirror and say, hey, you, me, I love you, I like you, I esteem you, I appreciate you. You're the best. And that's how that happened. Wow. Couple of divorces, one right after the other, financial ruin. And I was saying, oh, well, got to move forward. Got to move forward. But I will tell you that the divorces and the betrayals were much more difficult for me than being incarcerated, than having breast cancer, than having to go through all that shit. Yeah. Much more difficult. And then the light bulb went off. I have a pattern with relationships. I have this pattern because I'm not secure in as much in myself to look in that mirror and say, I love you, I like you, I esteem you, I appreciate you. There you are. I love you, Rhonda, just the way you are. Mm. That changed. That changed real quick. Yeah. So I've been on a work project, which is ending now in Colorado Springs, and it's been 4 years. When I was here for 2 years, my friends would ask me, well, you've been there. Have you met anyone? And I said, yes, I have. She's articulate. She's intelligent. She's attractive. She loves to garden. She loves to cook. She takes great care of herself. And her name is Rhonda Farah. It's not that I'm not open to love, but you know what? I'm learning a lot about what I was doing that was attracting. We call it forward, whether people want to hear that or not, whatever it is. I call prison forward. I call breast cancer forward. I call divorces. I call financial ruin forward. I called it all forward. And then I got to decide what to do about it. Mm-hmm. So, I've never had anyone walk out when I've been speaking or Zoom me off that I know of. I just choose to believe that. People don't want to accept that we call it forward. That's how much power we have. Yeah. We call the not so good stuff as well as the joys and successes forward.
Precisely. And you're like, you have an underlying theme of surrender in every single stage of your story. You hit a point where you surrender, and then that comes through.
Yep, there it is. Yeah.
What a testament to faith. And you don't even have to be a religious person to understand real faith. Like when we just have such a deep belief in ourselves, things happen. Good things happen. When we don't believe in ourselves, really crappy things happen. And we can look around and that pattern is everywhere. That cycle is everywhere. Most people who are where the average Joe esteems to be, those people that we look to are there because they believed in themselves more than anyone else around them did.
Yes.
And so how powerful is that?
It's very powerful. They care about what they think about themselves.
Yeah.
I care what people think about me, but if I get a bad review or they're not raving about me, I don't care. Yeah. So I got me. I might not have these, countless millions of people that like me because I was a people pleaser. I shed that real quick, being used as a doormat, being used as a people pleaser. And I get a lot of women come to me, especially in group. No, we're not here to commiserate. We're not here that misery loves company. In psychotherapeutic terms, it's called trauma bonding.
Yeah.
Okay. What it is misery loves company. There's the door. You're not raining on my parade and my group. Forget it.
Exactly.
But you're welcome to stay and listen. And maybe you'll pick something up. And maybe you'll come back. Or maybe you won't. But again, not my right nor my obligation to want for someone what they do not want for themselves.
Yep.
That's real. That's partly the definition of a narcissist, which I've attracted those to. And that's okay, because I learned from them. And my only prayer is, I hope you learned as much about you when we were together as I learned about myself. And I bless them. Yeah. I bless them for thank you for stopping by in my life, because we are with others for reasons, for seasons, and sometimes lifetimes.
Yeah. And the same goes for friendships too. Some friendships are really there to teach us a lesson that we must learn to move forward, not for life.
Yeah, right. We're just passing through. On the journey, we are all graciously placed together.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes. This whole thing, empowerment. Yes, you can take, if you're fearless and if you're bold and courageous, you can take that fear and make it work for you. And I'm often asked, how do I live an empowered life? No. Or I'm asked, how do you live an empowered life? I said, well, are you talking about you or me? Mm-hmm. I said, I'm going to give you a formula. I'm an alchemist. So I have a formula for living an empowered life. It's a basic, simple formula. It's not often easy. However, and it's not for the faint of heart. My formula for living an empowered life is gratitude plus forgiveness, beginning with forgiveness of yourself, equals living an empowered life, living the life you desire, living the life you want to be living at that point in time, perhaps the life you dream about. That's the formula. May I speak briefly about my formula for a second?
Please, by all means, absolutely.
Well, gratitude is, we know the spiel with gratitude. I do my gratitudes in the morning. I do them in the evening. I write them. I have journals and journals that I'm in the midst of relocating too. So I have boxes of all around me, but I looked at yesterday. I said, maybe I should get rid of these. And then I said, no. Gratitude that has the day. All those composition books, maybe you used them too in school. Those bound write it, gratitude from this date till this date. No, then it goes in the box and I start a new composition book. Move right along. So if you're not already, whoever's listening and watching, if you're not already being thankful from the smallest to the largest things, toothpaste is something to be thankful for. The birds singing, sunshine. I'm surrounded by the beautiful Rocky Mountains. But I'm grateful for that, but I'm also grateful for the beauty within me to share with the world. Mm-hmm. You have beauty within you. We all do. Mm-hmm. Start recognizing it, acknowledging it, being grateful that you are you for who you are, and share you with the world. Yeah. Smile. And then forgiveness. So gratitude plus forgiveness equals living an empowered life. The life you want, life you desire. Forgiveness gets a bad rap.
Yeah.
Okay. And I have family members, one in particular, that says, oh, I could never forgive them. And I will never forgive them. No, I don't go there anymore with her. Yeah. Well, forgiveness is like ingesting poison and expecting the other person to die. And that's just not going to happen. When we continue to harbor resentment, non-forgiveness, it's not on the journey to wellness. It's on the journey to ill-being. Mm-hmm. Not well-being. You become sick. Okay, that's how emotions and thoughts fester, especially through non-forgiveness. So I want to give our listeners and viewers an exercise. Yeah. And I want you to begin with forgiving yourself. Take a piece of paper and write this down. You're going to write a letter to yourself. It's basically what you're going to do. Maybe that's silly. I don't know. Don't dictate it like I do a lot into my phone or into my computer. Get a piece of paper and a pen in your handwriting.
Make it real.
Make it real. Don't use AI.
Nothing like a robot faking an apology.
Right. And I will say, I'll use myself. Dear Rhonda, I've been meaning to write to you for some time. First of all, how are you? Rhonda, do you remember when you didn't do your due diligence and you attracted prison camp into your life, when you got breast cancer, when you had two divorces, one right after another, and it caused financial ruin. I know you didn't mean to hurt me, Rhonda, and I forgive you. Boom, done. Do what you want with it. Yeah. Rip it up, burn it, flush it down the toilet. Garbage disposal is always a good place. 2, no, I shouldn't say that because that might ruin a garbage disposal. But you get the gist. Forgive yourself first. Yeah. There are things that we are, oh boy, that we're ashamed of. I was ashamed. I felt I was convicted and continued to be guilty. Guilt and shame, they're cousins, and they operate together. Okay. So forgive yourself. Mm-hmm. You're whole, perfect, and complete just the way you are, even with the messes from the past. Yeah. You're whole, complete, perfect, just as you are. We are created in the image and likeness of God, Mother and Father God, of Source, of Spirit, of the Divine. Mm-hmm. So that means whole, perfect, and complete, magnificent being, just the way we are. Yeah. Believe it and receive it. Next, aha breath. Take another piece of paper and think of someone, or maybe several people, that have harmed you. Okay. Mm-hmm. And write a letter to them. Oh, this is when people's heads are shaking. And then I say, well, you don't have to mail the letter. You gotta write it.
Yeah.
Dear person that has harmed me, whoever it is, put a name in it, put in the letter. You're writing to someone now. Dear person who has harmed me, I've been meaning to write to you for some time. First of all, how are you? Do you remember when you betrayed me? Do you remember when you gossiped about me? Do you remember when you were an element of the cause of my financial ruin? I know that you did not mean to hurt me, and I forgive you. The act of writing it, 95% of what we learn is visual, is powerful. Yeah. You've released it. Forgiveness is for us, self with a capital S. Forgiveness is not for the other people. I don't care what they think. I care about me, though, and being the best version of myself. So I use all my tools when I need them, and I'm not immune to things going kerflooey in my life, even though I live and I breathe this. I'm not immune, but I know what I must do, because I will never ask of a client or an audience what I do not do. Never.
Yeah. I think that's...
So now we all have...
Sorry, I was going to say, I think that's the beautiful thing, though, is when we start developing the tools that we share with others, it is merely because we know that we can fall back on those tools for ourselves.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, pretty special.
It's it's confirming. Mm-hmm. It's confirming for us. And as we make those steps, even baby steps, whether they're baby steps or leaps and bounds, we begin to heal more, which makes us even a better version of ourselves, which puts us where we need to be put for others, to be of service to them, to help them help themselves. I mean, I have a Harry Potter wand. Someone gave me that gift, as well as the whole Harry Potter quill and everything else, but I'm not going to wave the wand. That's your deal. That's your deal. And it will continue to be my spiel, as my Yiddish friends say all the time. And that's that.
Yeah, man, I love your formula. It's so simple. It is something that we can act upon, I mean, every day, even if we have to, right? And learning just to be able to have that forgiveness within ourselves and the practice of gratitude. What a difference it makes in the world.
What a difference. That's right. And, to be able to, at night, I always say, I'm grateful for my up and coming sweet dreams and my warm, comfy bed.
Yeah.
It's silly to some people, but not to me.
It's a great way to set yourself up for a lovely sleep. That's for sure.
Absolutely. And then turn on a subliminal, and which I sleep with every night. I turn it on, and for healing, aches and pains.
Yeah.
Because I want to make sure I can have a nice jog the next morning.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I was introduced to a practice where it's a form of meditation, and you take all of the negative things, the hurts, the pains, the frustrations, anything that is negative, the or malintent, the bad relationships, etc., and you And as you exhale them out into the Pacific Ocean for it to just go and wash away. And it sounds so like when you first introduced to that form of meditation in particular, you're like, oh, this is so corny. But then you realize in moments where you're like, oh, I'm really stressed. You just like to the ocean you go and it's gone.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, it's beautiful. And it's just the little steps, the little things. Nothing is big and monumental. It's small stuff compounded together, much like your gratitude journal that turns into boxes and boxes full of blessings.
Yeah.
This has been wonderful, Rhonda. I want to say thank you so much for sharing your story, for being able to experience another moment as you release another little bit of your story, of your experience being incarcerated, going through breast cancer and everything else. And the things like we do what we do, but what's more important is to know what brought us to what we do. And I really appreciate you sharing that story, because that is what allows us as the listeners to have a better understanding of what direction we can take our life and our world into as well. So thank you so much for your time and for sharing your story. Thank you.
May I leave viewers with just a couple things?
Absolutely.
All right. Well, the first thing is understand that whatever struggle or challenge you are going through, you are not alone. Reach out. Reach out to Source, to the divine, to Spirit. Reach out to someone that you trust. Reach out to a professional. Whether it's me or someone else, reach out. You are not alone. You're not meant to be alone, okay? And also, as I mentioned briefly before, whatever it is that you're going through, that you're struggling with, tussle with right now, and you're not sure, I'm proceeding down this tunnel, there's the light. It's not a train. It is the truth. It's the way. It's the guidance. It's the blueprint so that you can listen intuitively and take the next best steps for you to be the best version of yourself. Even in that moment, to take a step is being the best version of yourself. To follow a thought is being the best version of yourself. And finally, as I invite audiences when I'm a guest or when I'm a host on my show, I invite you to treat life as if it were ice cream and enjoy it before it melts.
Very true words there. And anybody who's looking for Rhonda, you can find her on Help Me Rhonda Now, and that's RHONDA, .com, helpmerhondanow.com. And we'll put everything in the show notes as well for you. So thank you so much, Rhonda. I really appreciated this. It was such an enjoyable conversation.
Oh, my pleasure. My pleasure, Lisa.